to talk about my Thunderbird experience, which is in your book, in my new book as well, starts right in the first chapter. We've always had this, when it comes to UFOs, that they're nuts and bolts, that they're a craft. But people are also seeing things that seem to be plasma based or almost alive. And that was my Thunderbird experience with my wife. And the consciousness piece, it's as if something is listening and starts to interact. And we were in the garage. This was 2 weeks before we're going to move into our new house, and we're here now. We're closer to Leominster State Forest and Monsterland. We live right next to Barrett State Park. My property abuts that. And I was remarking to my wife, we're in the garage with the door open, summer night, a couple weeks before July 4th. And I said, I'm so excited to move to the new house. We're closing. We're going to be closer to Monsterland. We're going to see some weird stuff. And it was like a few minutes later, we're just talking, and something touches Amy's leg. And with the garage door open, wearing shorts, I just assumed it was a moth or a Japanese beetle had kind of brushed against her leg. But she was like, "No, it felt like like a hand or something just pushed on me." A couple minutes later, we're talking about mundane stuff, what we're bringing, what we're leaving. Happens again. And she's like, "Ronnie, something just touched me in my leg, the same spot again." Another few minutes goes by, and the third time was enough that she shot up out of her seat. She said it felt like feathers just grazed across her leg. And she said, her words, "I'm getting weird fairy vibes."
Mm.
And I was just kind of like, all right, there's something going on. I said, "I think someone's trying to get your attention. Let's go outside." So we get up out of our chairs. We walked a short, maybe 50 feet, and we turn and face the house. And the timing was insane, because it literally was like a film started, like opening scene, and here comes this orange reddish plasma based, the best description would be like a dragon or a phoenix, and I just seem to equate it with a thunderbird. And I couldn't see, like wings or a beak or things like that, but it was the size of a school bus, and it was moving like a dragon flying in the sky. And we noticed it was chasing after a green one just in front of it, the same size. And they were moving like dolphins, undulating under the water. And we were just blown away and this was all silent. We both were seeing it at the same time. And right after they kind of made their appearance, they slowly went out of view, and they were going somewhere. And I just had this feeling. I didn't hear a voice, but just had that gut feeling. Don't go anywhere. There's more coming, because of all these different experiencers and encounters they have. There seems to be sometimes more than one. And sure enough, here comes this green beach ball size ball of light. In the book of Ezekiel, it talks about a wheel within a wheel. And as this thing is coming over, and this is closer to us now, so we can actually watch its path as it's going over our house. And I see this stuff spinning inside of this thing. And as it gets closer to us, it flares up as if it's aware and recognizes that we're watching it. Again, completely silent, follows after those first two. And then the third thing that starts coming is Amy spots it in the sky, and she at this point grabs her phone and starts to film what looks like a bird kind of flying, whitish blue, a smaller version of those first two Thunderbirds. And it flies right over, and right before it hits the tree line, if you freeze frame it, I'll post this up on my socials again. It looks like wings. So, what people may have described in ancient times as angels or these different things, we saw what would be unidentified, unexplained aerial phenomena that was not a craft, at least that we could see with our or perceive with our eyes, but it was alive, and it was something that I think the ancients have seen. And I described and um, the dragons and the phoenix. It just seems to follow in all of that, but just from a different cultural perspective or perception.
Wow, man.
It was, and I'm praying for it to happen again. So, universe, if you're listening,
Yes, please.